Sorry about that. Welcome to Politics for Dummies, I believe is what we're doing. I'm going to talk to you briefly about politics and where the word comes from and what it's all about. So, I'm going to start off with the word itself. Politics itself, as you can see up here, comes from the ancient Greek word polis, which refers to the city or the state. Now, state is the key word in there, so you need to remember that. The state is a collection of institutions that manage the country, which basically is the civil service or law enforcement being police, things like that. Another key word that you need to remember is government. Now, government is the process of organising and directing the state, which basically means all the conflict and ideas that go around in government, things like that. But we'll get onto that later on. So, what I have for you now is an interview that I did earlier with David Cameron and Nick Clegg. David, Nick, thanks for joining me today. I'm just going to ask you a few questions. What do you see as the relationship between politics and government?
Well, we believe that politics suggests conflict and that the government is the process of organising the state and giving it political direction.
Yeah, I agree with my mate Dave on this one. However, I will elaborate. Not all politics is conflict, such as the coalition government of 2010, when I sucked up to my new best mate, Dave.
Okay, what is government?
I'll answer this, Dave, seeing as you practically begged me to be in government.
I didn't.
He begged, he did. Anyway, government in effect is the managing control of the state. In the UK we have a democratically elected system where the government is responsible for key policy.
Okay, thanks for that. Why do you feel politics is important, David?
Well, because without politics, our country would not be how it is. It would not be stable. However, in other countries, politics is unfair and their country is not stable. For example, Syria now has erupted in civil war.
Yes, David, we would not want to see our country like this. So politics is vital in this country to maintain the country that we see today.
Okay, thank you for that, Nick. Why do you feel that political education is important?
Well, I feel that it's important to know how politics works, because if you didn't, then you would not know how the country works, and you would not know who to vote for. Also, things would affect you, and you would not understand why.
Yes, Nick. If you do not understand politics, things will affect you, like cuts, etc., and you will not know why or how. Politics affects everything we do day to day, so it's very important to have an understanding about it.
Okay, thank you for that. Can you explain to me the different types of authority?
Well, there are three different kinds of authority: traditional, charismatic, legal rational authority. Traditional authority is the right to govern because authority has existed over a long period of time. This applies particularly to hereditary monarchies.
Charismatic authority refers to the individual's ability to inspire and persuade and attract a following. Here, authority is made simply by a claim.
This refers to any rational way of granting authority. This is always decided by election, so it can best be described as elective authority. It is undoubtedly the most justification for the exercise of power. Politics.
Boom!
Coalition.
Kiss it.
Well, that was our interview with David Cameron and Nick Clegg. Lovely boys, them two. Anyway, now I'm going to talk to you about why politics is important, but instead of me boring you here, I'm going to show you a clip of my interviews with our least two favourite brothers, David and Ed Miliband. Let the bitch fighting begin. Hi Ed, thanks for joining me. I'm just going to ask you a few questions. Why do you feel you were elected as leader of the Labour Party above your brother?
Listen, the desire for power is a natural human characteristic. Modern society now produces many people who have a drive to achieve and exercise power. Clearly, I walk all over my kid brother. Also, my mummy said I was more unique. Second answer, me and my brother are fine and both know that the best man won.
Okay, for the people at home, can you tell us what power is?
Power is the ability of an individual or an institution to force people to do things whether they wish to or not. The strongest type of power is force or coercion. And right, suckers!
Could you tell us how people climb the ladder to the top?
By stabbing my brother in the back.
What?
No, I'm kidding. How silly of me. Well, parties compete against each other for power at European, national and local elections. Also, within parties, They always compete for the top spot.
Okay, thank you for your time, you freak. Thanks for being here, David. I just interviewed your brother, actually. He said you are fine now after your recent battle for power. Are you?
Nah, I ain't him, man!
Really? Do you want revenge?
Aye, I'm gonna skim like a kebab!
Right, okay. How would you define authority?
Authority is basically the right to exercise power. Authority is granted to rulers or anyone in power by those over whom power is to be exercised.
So does Ed have authority over you?
Never! Well, start but you know.
So does Britain have all the source of its political authority in the people?
Not all. In this country, while the party's elected, a monarch or a political leader isn't.
Okay, thanks for joining me.
Cheers!
Well, David, Nick, thanks for joining me. I'm just going to ask you a few questions. What do you see as the relationship between politics and government?
Well, we believe that politics...
Oh my God. David, Nick, thanks for joining me. I'm just going to ask you a few questions. What do you see as the relationship between politics and... Oh, for God's sake. David, Nick, thanks for joining me.
I can't stop it, it's even.
David, Nick, thanks for joining me. I'm just going to ask you a few questions. What do you see as the relationship between politics and government?
She's
That's
still
what
doing
that
this.
Oh my God.
I didn't even like.
Oh, I'm London Proud. And this is politics from DumEes. Bye, mate.